Hello YouTube fam, how y'all doing? It's your Uncle Tim. This is Uncle Tim Rants and Reviews, a channel that I ran and I review. I'm your host, Uncle Tim. One of the scariest movies of all time I had looked at again. It's called Event Horizon with Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne. Came out in 1997. By all means, it was a commercial flop. It has a cult following. Man, this movie is by far a cross between The Exorcist and Hellraiser. It is just downright fucking evil. I mean, man, this shit stays with you after you watch the movie. And they've been trying to release a director's cut, but the issue with that is they said, it was so bad when they showed it at the show, that part that they left in the movie that they had to take it out because people were just leaving and they were just so just beside themselves, man. And I'm looking at this movie and I'm like, damn, it was just wow, bro. And I'm like, man, just imagine if you seen the extra part in it, man. I was just sitting here thinking, and people were asking me, where do I rank this movie? It's number 2 in my list of scary movies. It's like the second scariest movie of all time to me. There's shit that stick with you. That's shit that scars you. The first one is The Exorcist. This is the second one. Dude, I'm going to do a list of scary movies that, I feel are worth a watch, but they come with like a disclaimer for me because I'm saying that these movies will stick with you long after, their runtime and, they're off the screen and things like that. So I'm just saying, to you and making sure you understand some things, man. You should take people advice and say, man, this is just not for you to watch, if you squeamish or whatever, man. But back to Event Horizon, man. So this is how the movie works. They went to check out a spacecraft that has a device on it that folds time. Instead of you going through a wormhole, and, basically light speeding, you going through a black hole. So it bends time, it folds it in half, and you go through. But the dimension that they went into, the first crew, they went into hell. And it was just, wow, the imagery that they put on the screen from these people actually going through this dimension. So, they sent this crew out to investigate. So they see, a frozen like mummy with all these lines on them, just naked and just looking wicked and all this blood everywhere. It's all frozen in there. They going to check. This thing had been gone for years, but it just reappeared. But it came back alive. The core of the ship with the black hole part was alive. And they sent these people to check it out. And that's the thing, man. They were messing with things they don't understand. They were trying to say that Event Horizon is like the prequel to Warhammer 40K. They're trying to say it's canon. But, as we know, and as the studio know, they said we have nothing to do with Warhammer. Because Warhammer deals with the black hole, the warp, and all of that stuff, and the creatures that come out. And, they've been trying to make an Event Horizon 2. But, just the premises of this, man, Sam Neill at one point got possessed because his wife was on a ship, man, and she ended up slitting her wrist. She was part of that first crew. She slit her wrist because she was so damn scared. It was so messed up. She was in a tub and slit her wrist. And she had left him a message and stuff like that. And he had seen her, in his dreams and stuff like that. Because the ship had you seeing stuff. He seen her without her eyes and every damn thing else. So, man, at one point in time, he removed his eyes. And, dude, he had scars all over the body. It was wild as hell. Baby, as they call him, baby boy, I think it was baby boy, a teddy bear. He went into the black hole and he came out, man. He was messed up. Like I said, that dimension is, I guess, is hell. And he went through and he came out and he tried to kill himself in the airlock because he was so messed up. And at the end of the movie, Lawrence Fishburne ended up sacrificing himself because, to actually close that wormhole and to send that ship back into hell. Dude, it was just crazy, man. You think some of the stuff that you watch really don't stick with you? This shit does. This is a abomination, man. They tell you that the movies sometimes they get this stuff from somewhere. If you want to check it out, you can find it, some everywhere. Sam Neill, you remember him from Jurassic Park. Lawrence Fishburne, The Matrix. And, this movie, like I said, was a commercial flop. It didn't do good, but it garnered a cult following because it was just effed up. Like I said, it's just, they're trying to do a show on Amazon, a series, basically to get, to show you what's happening and what happened there, when they went through the rift and all of that, bro. This is why you don't mess with shit you don't know, bro. I'm serious. You just gotta be careful. And, I don't want to be one of those people that'll tell you not to watch something, but just keep it in mind. Some of this stuff is weird, man. These movies, man, they get this stuff from somewhere. And like I said, man, I had watched that, with my wife, not my wife, but, my kids and stuff like that. And they were like, damn, I watched it once almost by myself. And like I said, damn again, some of this stuff, man, you got to leave it where it's at. I'm serious. But, that's just me talking, man. But to later, thank you for watching. You could check this movie out on any streaming service. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere there. If not, you could finally find it on Shudder if you have that, if that's still in existence. Shudder is like a horror, basically horror like platform where they just have horror movies and stuff like that, man. And I was just like, damn, man, we're just gonna review some of the movies that that gave me the creeps, man. So that's just one if you want to go check it out, man. I didn't tell you the premise of the movie. Well, yes, I did. Did I give you the plot? Not really. But you come to find out that Sam Neill felt guilty because his wife died in space without him in this dimension and went through all of this stuff. It was just so wild. And he couldn't do anything about it. It drove him crazy, and he ended up getting possessed by the ship. And the ship used him as a vessel to torment the other ones, man. And it was just wow. One lady was seeing her daughter on the ship. Dude, you off in space. Why would you see your daughter on the ship? Why would you see your dead daughter running around on the ship? She dead. Why would she be running around on the ship? You shouldn't be going to look to see if that's up. Maybe that's her. I think it's her. Why would she be out in space? How'd she get out there? You see my point. The trick, the ship was playing tricks on them. It was having them to see illusions and stuff like that and things like that, man. And it was just wow. But that was just something I wanted to talk to you about. Let you know, we'll be doing a few of these. Just talking about movies and things like that. And what did I think of them, man? On a scale of scary, I would give that a 10. 1 being the least, 10 being the scariest, I get that a damn 10. Man, that should have got a damn sequel if I ever seen one, man. But till later, peace out.